Good day. In this second video, I will be continuing discussing the lessons of the Bucor or in the Module 4 Institutional Correction. But before anything else, first is I need to read my presentation before I gave my word of discussion. So now let's proceed discussing some of the sections in the Bucor. So section 6 is the land of the Bucor of Corrections. So aside from administrative purposes, all Bucor lands shall be used for inmate security, reformation programs, and as a means of to promote sustainability both for income and non-income generating programs with or without partnership among non-government organizations, civic organization, or other government entities. So these lands of the Bureau of Corrections is used for inmate security, reformation programs, and the means to promote sustainability for income and non-income generating governments. So let's proceed to section 7, the facilities of the Bureau of Corrections. So the Bucor or the Bureau of Corrections shall operate with standard and uniform design of prison facilities, reformation facilities, and administrative facilities through all the operating prison and penal forms such as the following. We have the dormitory, administration building, from perimeter or security fences, hospital or infirmary. Next is we have the recreation or multi-purpose hall, training or lecture center, workshop facility, mess hall or kitchen, visiting area, water tank and pump, reception and diagnostic center, and lastly we have the service personnel facilities. Section 8 is the supervision of the Bureau of Corrections. So Department of Justice or the DOJ, having the Bucor as a line bureau and a constituent unit, shall maintain a relationship of administrative supervision with the latter as defined under Section 38 to Chapter 7, Book 4 of Executive Order Number 292 Administrative Code of 1987, except that the DOJ shall retain authority over the power to review, reverse, revise, or modify the decisions of the Bucor in the exercise of its regulatory or quasi-judicial functions. So, the DOJ has the power to review, revise, or modify the decisions that has been implemented by the Bucor. So Section 9 is the organization and key positions of the Bureau of Corrections. So the Bureau shall be headed by director who shall be assisted by 3 deputy directors. So one is for administration, one is for security and operations, and one for reformation, all of whom shall be appointed by the President upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the DOJ, provided that the Director and the Deputy Directors of the Bucor shall serve a tour of duty not to exceed 6 years from the date of appointment, provided further that in times of war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President might extend such tour of duty. So now let's proceed to the section 10, which is the increase of personnel. So the Bucor shall maintain the custodial personnel to inmate ratio of 1:7 and reformation personnel to inmate ratio of 1:24. Hence, it is authorized to increase its manpower to meet such ratio and may continue to increase personnel per percentage rate increase of committed inmates annually or as the need arises. So they will increase their personnel so that they can accommodate this increasing numbers of inmates annually annually. So, okay. So now let's proceed to the section 11, the professionalization and upgrading of qualifications, standards in the appointment of the Bucor personnel. So no person shall be appointed as personnel of the Bucor unless one possesses the following minimum qualifications. We have a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines, a person of good moral conduct, must have passed the psychiatric, psychological, drug, and physical tests for the purpose of determining his or her physical mental health. Next is must possess a baccalaureate degree from a recognized learning institution, must possess the appropriate civil service eligibility, must not have been dishonorably discharged or dismissed for cause from previous employment, must not have been convicted by final judgment of an offense or crime involving moral turpitude. And lastly, we have must be at least 1 meter and 62 centimeters in height for male and 1 meter and 57 centimeters for female, provided that a waiver for height and age requirements may be granted to applicants belonging to the cultural communities. Provided further that a new applicant must not be less than 21 or more than 40 years of age. Except for these particular provisions, the above enumerated qualifications shall be continuing in character, and absence of any one of them at any given time shall be ground for separations or retirement from the service. So, okay. Now let's proceed to 829. Now let's proceed to the section 12, appointment of a personnel to the Bucor. So the appointment of the Bucor shall be effective in the following manner. So Corrections Officer 1 to Correction Chief Superintendent appointed by Director General of Corrections and attested by the Civil Service Commission or the CSC, and Director General of Corrections and Deputy Director of Corrections appointed by the President upon recommendation of the Secretary of the DOJ with the proper endorsement by the Chairman of the CSC or the Civil Service Commission. 34, 35. So now, Section 13. So lateral entry of officer into the Bucor. So in general, all original appointments of officers in the Bucor shall commence with the rank of Corrections Inspector when applicants for lateral entry into the Bucor shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as but not limited to civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, chemists, architects, criminologists, certified public accountants, nurses, physical therapists, dentists, social workers, psychologists, sociologists, guidance counselor, and teachers, doctors of medicine, members of the Philippine Bar, and chaplains shall be appointed to the rank of Corrections Senior Inspector in their particular technical service. Section 14 is the professionalization and upgrading of qualification standards in the designation of a personnel of the Bucor to key positions. So no person shall be designated to the following positions of the Bucor unless one has met the qualifications provided. Section 15, professionalizations and qualifications upgrading program. So the DOJ shall design and establish a professionalization and qualifications upgrading program for personnel of the Bucor in coordinations with the CSC and the Commission on Higher Education or CHED through an off-campus education program or other similar programs within 90 days from the effective of this Act. So Section 16 is the attrition system for the personnel of the Bucor. There shall be established a system of attrition for the personnel of the Bucor within 5 years from the effectivity of this act, to be submitted by the said Bureau to the DOJ for approval. Section 17 is the promotion system for the personnel of the Bucor or Bureau of Corrections within 6 months after the effectivity of this act. The Bucor shall establish a system of promotion for the personnel of the Bucor through the following principles. So we have rationalized promotion system. The system of promotion shall be based on merit and on the availability of the vacant ranks in the Bucor staffing pattern. Such system shall be gender fair, so as to ensure that women personnel of the Bucor shall enjoy equal opportunity for promotion as to men. So requirements for promotions: any personnel of the Bucor shall not be eligible for promotion to higher rank unless one has met the minimum qualification standard or the appropriate civil service eligibility set by the CSC and has satisfactorily passed the required psychiatric and or psychological, drug, and physical tests. And lastly is any personnel of the Bucor who has exhibited acts of conspicuous courage and gallantry at the risk of one's life above and beyond the call of duty, or selected as such in a nationwide search conducted by any accredited civic organization, shall be promoted to the next higher rank, provided that this shall be validated by the Department of Justice or DOJ and the CSC based on established criteria. So Section 8 is the performance evaluation system. There shall be established a performance evaluation system which shall be administered in accordance with the rules, regulations, and standards and a code of conduct for the personnel of the Bucor to promulgated by the Bucor through the DOJ. So such performance evaluation system shall be administered in such a way as to foster the improvement of the individual efficiency and behavioral discipline, as well as the promotion of organizational effectiveness and commitment to public service. So Section 19 is the standardization of the base pay and the other benefits of the uniformed personnel of the Bucor. So in order to enhance the general welfare, commitment to service and professionalism. So this is Section 19. It is to standardization of the base pay of those and other benefits of those uniformed in Bucor. So Section 20 is the retirement benefits. Upon compulsory retirement, any custodial officer from the rank of correction chief, superintendent, and below shall be entitled to retirement benefits computed on the basis of 1 grade higher than the position last held. So, provided that the retirement pay shall be subjected to adjustment based on the prevailing scale of base pay of the uniformed personnel in the active service. So Section 21 is the funding source. So the funds required for the implementation of this act, including personal benefits, shall be taken from the budget of the Bucor for the current fiscal year and also from the following: collections from clearance and certification fees, income from institutional projects subject to Memoranda of Agreements or MOAs, contracts or joint venture agreements, and other miscellaneous incomes outside MOAs and contracts such as panel farm, agro production, and inmate handicraft industry. So thereafter, such amounts as may be necessary to implement this act shall be included in the Annual General Appropriations Act. Now let's proceed to the section 22 is the implementation. So the implementation of this act shall be undertaken in staggered paces but not to exceed 5 years, taking into consideration the financial positions of the national government, provided that any partial implementation shall be uniform and proportionate for all ranks. Section 23 is the implementing rules and regulations. So the DOJ, in coordination with the Bucor, the CSC, and the DBM, and the Department of Finance or DOF, shall within 90 days from the effectivity of this act promulgated the rules and regulations necessary to implement the provision of this act. Section 24 is the transitory provisions. The incumbent director and 2 incumbent assistant directors shall serve under the terms for which they have been appointed without need of new appointments upon the enactment of this act. Section 25 is the annual report. So the Bucor, through the DOJ and the DBM, shall jointly submit to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives an annual report on the implementation of this act. This report shall include information of the application of the budget for the salary and other benefits provided under this act. The DBM is consultations with the Bucor through the DOJ shall periodically review and adjust every 5 years the rates of base pay, taking into consideration labor productivity, consumer price index, oil price, and other similar economic indicators as may be determined by the National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA. Now we have section 26, the separability clause. So if any portion or provision of this act is declared unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity and effectivity of other provisions not affected thereby. Okay. So section 27 is the repealing clause. All laws, decrees, orders, rules, and regulations, and other issuance or parts thereof which are inconsistent with the provision of this act are hereby deemed repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. So, lastly is we have the section 28. Effectivity clause. This act shall be the effect 15 days after its complete publication in the official gazette or in at least 2 newspapers of general circulation, whichever comes earlier. So in all, in the Republic Act 10595 or the Bureau of Corrections, there are a number of 28 sections. So this ends my second video discussing about the Bureau of Corrections.